Hello friends and welcome to Edupedia World Videos. This is the course Linux Operating Systems Basics, and in this particular video we will be learning about the head and the tail command. So till now we have covered Linux installation, and we have also covered how to install a virtual machine on your system to install Linux so that you don't have to do away with your actual operating system on your Windows, that is Windows. Okay, so we have covered a lot of commands earlier, and now let us continue with the head command. So first of all, what is the purpose of the head command? Well, it is used to print the lines at the beginning of a file. So many times it is required in your daily job activities that you have to print a file. You have to check a file without opening a file. So this command helps you doing that. So unlike the cat command, we had done one command cat earlier. So what does cat command do? It prints the entire file on the screen. So if you don't want to print the entire file, if you just want to print the starting some lines of the file, then you can use the head command for that. Okay, so there is a -n option where you can write -n space the number of lines that you want to print, and those many starting lines of that file will be printed. So you can either write -n space the number of lines, or you can simply write hyphen and number of lines by replacing the n character by the number of lines you want to print. So that will also work. Okay, so the second option is that you can use -n and -k. So the option -k can be used to print the file from the first line up till total lines minus k lines. Okay, suppose your file has 100 lines and you want to print all the lines except for the last 10 lines. So what you can do is you can write -n -10. Okay, so that will print line number 1 to line number 90 and skip the last 10 lines of the file. Similarly, there is one option. If you want, instead of specifying the number of lines to print, you want to specify the number of bytes to be printed on the screen, you can use the -c option. Okay, as per the last point over here, -c space n. So here n is the number of bytes that you want to print on the console. So now what we'll do is we will just try all these options practically on our Linux virtual machine. So right now I have used the Putty client to connect to my virtual machine. Okay, my virtual machine is also running on my same desktop. So instead of straight away accessing the console of my virtual machine, I am accessing the shell of my virtual machine using the secure shell protocol. And to do that, you have to use a secure shell client, which is the Putty client in this example, which we are using, and it is one of the most popular client that we use to connect to our remote machines. So not only a machine that is running on my desktop I can connect to that one, but also a machine that is miles away but connected to internet, I can also connect to that particular machine on the internet using this shell protocol, secure shell protocol, using a shell client. Okay, so after you connect to the virtual machine, so you can run all the Linux shell commands over there. Okay, so now what we will do is we will try our head command. So I have already created one file which is named as 1000 lines file.txt. Okay, so you can open that file to see how this looks like. So let us use the Nano editor to open the file. So we have learned how to use Nano editor in our one of the few first tutorials in Linux shell commands. So you just write nano space the name of the file and it will open that particular file for you. So you can see that this particular file has various lines, and each line, on each line the line number is printed, line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, so on. And if you press page down, you can quickly go to the bottom of the file and you can see the last line is line number 1000. So there are a total of 1000 lines in this particular file. So I have pressed Ctrl X to exit from Nano editor. Now we have seen our file. Now let us see how the head command works. So for the first option, you have to write head -n the number of lines that you want to be printed from the starting, and then you have to give the name of the file. Okay, this will print first 10 lines of our file. Okay, so as we had already discussed that it should print the first 10 lines of our file, and it has printed the first 10 lines of our file. Okay, now you can also do one thing, that instead of writing -n space the number of lines you want to print, you can simply replace n by the number of lines you want to print. So head -10 and 1000 lines file, that is the name of our file. So that will also produce the same result. Okay, so that is how you can use the head commands to display initial few lines of a file. Now there are some other options also available in the head command that we had just done. So let us first switch to our presentation and see what was the second option. So the second option was to print the file starting from the first line up till total lines minus k lines. Okay, so in our file there are how many lines? There are 1000 lines. Okay, so if we want to print say up till the line number 400, so what you can do is you can give -n minus 600. So minus 600 will make it print only 400 lines. Total lines is 1000 minus 600 is 400. So that is another option available in head command. So let us try, is it working or not? Head -n minus 600 and then the name of our file. So it should print in total 400 lines. Okay, so it has printed up till line number 400, and you can see that the beginning line was line number 1. So from line number 1 up to line number 400 it has printed that many lines. Similarly, if you want to print only say 50 lines, you can write it that way. So -n minus 950 means total minus 950, which is 50 lines, and that is how you can print the first 50 lines of the file in another way. So one way is simply give 50 over here, that will also print 50 lines. And another way is, if you have a parameter, say that these many lines from the end you have to skip, so you can simply give that value over here after minus sign, so that will skip those many lines from the last. Okay, so this was another usage of the head command. After this, there is one more usage that allows you to print a particular number of bytes from the beginning of the file. So this command is this parameter is -c, so you have to give a parameter -c and then space the number of bytes you want to print, and that will print that many bytes. Okay, so to test this, what we will do is we will just print. So in Linux or in most of the operating systems, 1 byte is generally used to store 1 character. Okay, so 1 character occupies the space equal to 1 byte. So if you give 1 over here, -c space 1 over here, so that would make it print only the first character of the file, which is L. You can see that it has printed. So if you want that only the word line this should be printed, you have to give -c4, because this word line takes 4 character spaces or 4 bytes. Okay, so if we give 4, you can see that it has printed 4 characters of the line, first 4 characters of the line. If you want to print the first line, then it should be 4 plus 1 byte space, which is 5. Then the word number again contains 5 letters, so this becomes 10 and 11, and for the first number, that would be 1, you have to give 1 space. So in total you have to give 12 bytes, and it should print your first line. Okay, so I counted a bit less. Okay, so you have to give a total of 13 bytes, so it will print your first line. Okay, if you make it to 14, so it will print the first line including the new line character at the end of the first line. Okay, so simply white spaces and new line characters, all these occupy bytes in the memory. So it is not that new line character will just be something which will not occupy any space in the memory, because you are not writing on a notebook, all right, you are writing in a file that computer has to read. So the computer should know that after this particular character I have to start a new line. So for that there is one character in the ASCII sequence, and that is used over here. So when you do head -C13, that will print the first line, but it will not print the new line character. So that is why the command prompt has started immediately after this. The next line's prompt has come immediately after the output of our command. But if you do head -C14, in that case what will happen is this new line character will also get printed, and our command prompt will get printed at the next line. Okay, so that was the usage of the head command. Now similarly we have another command. Let us study about that. That is the tail command. So as their words are complementary to each other, so are these commands complementary to each other. So as head allows you to print the starting lines of a file, tail is used to print the lines towards the end of the file. Okay, if you give head -n space 10 and the file name, it will print the first 10 lines of the file. If you give tail -n space 10 and the file name, it should print the last 10 lines of the file. Okay, so -n option I have already discussed with you. Then there is -n plus k option, which is contrary to the -n minus k option in the head command. So -n plus k option can be used to print the file from the kth line till the last line. Okay, so if I give -n plus k 50, so it will start printing the file at line number 50th, and it will go up till the end of the file. Okay, so in our case, suppose we want to print the last 50 lines of the file, so we should give -n plus 950, so it will print the last 50 lines of the file, because it will start printing at the 950th line. So it will print 950th line till 1000th line. So in total it will be 51 lines. If you want to print 50 lines, you should give -n space 951. Okay, so similarly there is option to print the last n bytes. If you specify -c space n, it will print the last n bytes of the file. Now let us try something with the tail command. So one more thing, that simply giving head and tail without any other argument, what will it do is it will by default print the last 10 lines of the file, and if you use head and do not give any argument, it will print the starting 10 lines of a file. So by default the value of n is taken as 10 in both these commands. Okay, so as you have seen that tail, simple tail will give the last 10 lines of a file. So that is how you use tail. If you want to print the last 5 lines of a file, you can give tail -5, and then it will print the last 5 lines of a file. Okay, so what is another option that we have done is -n plus k. So -n, and if you give say plus 970, so it should start printing at the 970th line of the file. Okay, it has started printing at the 970th line, and it has ended till the end of the file. Okay, similarly if you want to print the last say 5 lines of a file, you should start printing at the 996th line of the file, and it should print the last 5 lines of this particular file. So that is how you use the -n plus k option in the tail command. Similarly, the last option of the tail command also you can try, which is printing the number of bytes in a file. So the trailing bytes. Okay, so if you want to print the last say 14 or last 15 bytes, which should comprise, okay, the last line, so a few characters are skipped, so actually it would be 17 bytes that will comprise the complete last line, including the new line character at the end of the file. Okay, so that is how you print the last few bytes of this particular file using the tail command. Now tail, apart from all the options that head command has, tail has one more option, okay, that we will see right now. Okay, so for that I will need to open one more shell session. using my putty client, I'll just right click and open a duplicate session. Then I can enter my username and password which I had kept for this particular account. Okay, so now what I want to show you is the other option that tail command has. Suppose there is a file. What I'll do is I'll use the echo command, okay, and output my command, redirect my output to the file 1.txt. okay, so what this does, I'll just summarize it once, although we have done the echo command as well as the redirection operators in previous videos, so you can very well refer to those videos in case you want to understand it in detail. So echo command is simply used to echo a message on the screen. Okay, you can print anything you want to print using the echo command. So in this case it will echo the character 1, the number 1 on the screen, and these are the redirection operators. So the greater than sign, okay, is used to redirect the output of first command to the file of the command that is at the left hand side of this operator to the file. And if there is a single redirection operator, it means that the whatever existing information will be there in the file, it will get overwritten. So it will delete that file and it will create a new file, and now the file will only have the letter 1 inside that. Okay, you can just type the command and check. So to type the whole file you can use the command cat. So you can see it only has 1 inside it. If you want to append the information, so what you can do is you can use double redirection operator. So that is used to append the information. It will not overwrite the file. If it exists, it will just add one line to the end of the file. So that also you can check over here. So now what we will do is we will, on this window, we will keep on appending one line towards the end of this file, and on the other window we will tail that file using the -f option. So this option -f will continuously keep on monitoring any changes in your file, and it will continuously also keep on displaying the newly added lines into the file. So that is what it does. Okay, so instead of tailing this 1000 lines of txt, let us tail 1.txt file. Okay, so by default it will also show the last 10 lines of the file. So right now this file has only 2 lines. It is displaying those 2 lines, and I have pressed I have pressed enter key, the return key, a few times, so that the screen is cleared for some lines, so that we can come to know that okay, this has now been updated. So as soon as I will echo one character into this file, you can see that it will also reflect in the tail command. So as I am writing something into the file, it is straight away going into the tail command. Okay, so that is the use of tail, that you can continuously see the file being updated. So this is generally useful when you have to read the log files created by some program. Okay, if a program is running and it is creating a log file and you want to see it at the real time, so what you can do is you can use the tail command for that. Okay, so apart from this, now you have one more option in tail command, which is tail -F. Okay, the only difference between these two commands is that if suppose there is one file, say, okay, so suppose there is one file 2.txt, okay, which actually does not exist, but you know that a program is going to run and which will create that file. So you want to tail that file in advance. Okay, so as soon as that file gets created, you are able to see the updates into that file on your window. So you will not be able to use the -f option, because it will immediately return by saying that there is no such file or directory for reading. Okay, but what you can do in this case is you can use the F option, which actually tells you that okay, there is no such file or directory, but it will keep on waiting and it will keep on checking. As soon as that particular file gets created, it will simply reflect the changes on the screen. So now we have echoed one letter to the 2.txt, and similarly it has said that 2.txt has appeared and following end of new file is there. So similarly you can also keep on adding, and it will keep on displaying the characters being added into the file in real time. So that is how you can use the tail command. Okay, so now these both commands can be used as a combination also. Okay, so we have learned that there is the pipe redirection operator, okay, which you can use to redirect the output of first command into the second command. So if I have one command, say tail hyphen n plus -n plus 950 and the name of the file 1000 file lines.txt. So what does this command do? It will give me the last 51 lines. Okay, let me write it 951. So it will give me last 50 lines of the file. Now suppose I don't want the last 50 lines of the file. I only want line number 951 till line number 960. I only want these 10 lines of the file. So how I will get those? Okay, so what you can do is you can use the pipe operator, and you can have one head command in front of your tail command. So what this head command will do is, first whatever output is given by your tail command will be fed to the head command using this pipe operator, and this head command will operate on that output. So you don't have to specify any file in front of the head command, but whatever the output of first command will be, it will actually be read by the head command, and head command will operate over that. So suppose the output of this command is 951 till line 9000. So it is displaying 50 lines, and we want only the first 10 lines. So you can write head hyphen n 10. Okay, so you know that head hyphen n 10 will give the first 10 lines of the file. So right now there is no file, but the input is being fed to the head command using the pipe operator. So it will give first 10 lines of that input. Now first command is giving 951 up till line 9000 up till line 1000. Okay, so the second command is giving only the first 10 lines of this particular output, so it will obviously give line number 951 till 960. So that is how you can also combine these two commands. So similarly what you can do is you can also use head command in the beginning and tail command at the RHS at the right hand side and generate the same output. How you can do that, let us see. So what I am doing is head hyphen n. So starting, say head hyphen n, and you have to give minus 50. Okay, not minus 50 but minus 40. So what will this do is it will print the line number 1 up till line number 960. Okay, so it has given me line number 1 till line number 960. Now I have to trim last 10 lines of this particular file and display only these ones. Okay, I have to skip all the earlier output. So what I can do is I can pipe this output into a tail command, and I can say that tail only the last 10 lines of this particular file. So the same output has been generated over here also. Okay, so that is how you can use the head and tail command in a combination also. So this is a very useful tool when you will be actually creating some shell scripts and working on text files inside Linux. So your text files contain some data that you want to parse and you want to derive some information from that. So this is a very good tool, and tail is also a very good tool for real-time observation of a file. So you can monitor a file continuously using the tail command, and you can take some action as soon as a line is added into the file. Okay, so I hope that this video was clear to you and you have understood how to use the head and the tail command. So continue to watch the course Linux Operating Systems Basics with Vagish Kumar. Thank you and have a nice day.